The pain had started as a dull ache, but now it felt like your entire lower body was being crushed, like something deep inside was twisting to tear itself out. You were still sitting in your office chair, hunched over your desk, trying to breathe through the wave of cramps, but it was no use. Your stomach clenched again, tight, sharp, and you gasped. It was almost midnight. You were alone in the building, working the overnight shift because your team had a deadline coming up. But now, the glowing numbers on the screen were blurry. Your head was heavy. Your limbs felt weak. You had taken a Drotin-M injection earlier in the evening to avoid meeting doctor, thinking it would help. You'd read online that it was good for menstrual cramps, strong and fast. But now, you were starting to feel like your body was rejecting it. Your skin felt cold but sweaty. Your legs were numb. Your back was throbbing. The pain wasn't easing. It was spreading. Yin, God, why is it so bad this time? You looked around and found no one, and maybe that was a good thing, because the way you were trembling, the way tears were threatening to fall, no one needed to see that. You slowly pushed yourself up from your chair, determined to at least make it to the washroom, but you barely took 2 steps before a cramp hit you hard, like a stab from the inside. Your knees gave out instantly. Your breath caught in your throat. You were falling, but you didn't hit the ground. Instead, you were suddenly wrapped in warm, firm arms, catching you just in time. You gasped softly, heart pounding, and turned your head slightly to see who it was. Yin, Miss Sabrina? Her eyes were wide with concern. She had come back to grab a file she forgot and found you just in time. Is it your period again, Yin? She asked, her voice calm but serious. You nodded, cheeks flushed with embarrassment and pain. Yin, why yeah, I'm so sorry. I thought I could handle it, but I don't think I can work tonight. As if to punish you for speaking, another cramp surged through your stomach, making your knees shake again. Sabrina guided you back into your chair quickly and crouched down next to you. Sabrina, sweetheart, you don't need to apologize. You look like you're about to pass out. She opened her purse and pulled out a small pack of painkillers, handing you 2 tablets and a cold bottle of water. You took them silently, too exhausted to resist. She reached up and tucked a few strands of hair behind your ear, speaking in a gentler tone now, almost like a sister. Sabrina, why didn't you tell anyone earlier? You're always trying to be strong, but this isn't something you can fight alone, Yin. I remember last month, you nearly fainted in front of the whole board. You bit your lip hard, ashamed. Yin, I didn't want to make a fuss. I thought I'd be okay after the injection. She shook her head, taking your hand in hers. Sabrina, you're in serious pain. This isn't normal, and I really think you should see a doctor, honey. You immediately looked down, panic rising in your chest. Your worst fear. Hospitals? Yin, I can't. You whispered. I get anxious. I hate clinics. I can't. Sabrina's face softened, and she gave your hand a gentle squeeze. Sabrina, then I'll come with you. Your eyes shot back to hers. No, please, I'll go. I'll do it. I just don't want to disturb your schedule. She gave you a knowing smile and stood up, her voice soft but firm. Sabrina, good. That's settled then. I'll take updates from your doctor, okay? Don't even think about skipping it. You gave a weak smile in return, the pain still coming in waves. Yin, okay, thank you. Sabrina took out her phone. Sabrina, I'll book a cab for you now. Stay seated. You gave her a small, grateful nod. The pain wasn't slowing down, it was only getting worse. But for the first time tonight, you felt a little safer, knowing someone cared enough to help you through it. The cab stopped in front of the hospital entrance, but as you stepped out into the cold corridor leading inside, relief didn't come. Instead, it felt like you were walking into a nightmare. Every step was heavier than the last. You couldn't turn back. Your boss had already booked the appointment and you didn't want to disappoint her. But the thought of walking into a hospital, of being touched or questioned, of needles, was enough to make your legs freeze in place. Yin, God, you whispered, clenching your jaw, one hand pressing to your stomach. This is the worst day. You squeezed your eyes shut, swallowing back the cry that threatened to escape. But the pain didn't stop. It got worse. It climbed from your lower stomach to your hips, your thighs, your legs. Every inch of you hurt. Even your head throbbed like a heartbeat trapped in your skull. You could barely see straight, and your skin felt cold and damp with sweat. Your balance faltered, and then, nothing. Your vision went dark as your knees gave out. You didn't even realize you were falling. Your body hit the floor like a ragdoll, completely limp, and the world vanished. When you slowly came to senses, Everything was spinning. Your body felt like it was burning from the inside out. You were no longer standing. You were lying flat on a hospital bed now, your body curled slightly as you hugged your stomach, the cramps growing sharper by the second. Cold sweat coated your forehead, your cheeks, your neck. Your breaths came in short, panicked bursts. You couldn't cry anymore, not properly. Your tears were already flowing silently, soaking the pillow beneath you, but the sobs couldn't leave your chest. It hurt too much to cry. It hurt too much to do anything. A nurse stood by your side, her voice calm but distant. "It's okay, we're calling the doctor. Just hang in there," she said, placing her hand gently on your arm. But it didn't help. The words passed through you like smoke. They couldn't touch the pain you were feeling. The cramping was relentless, the pressure unbearable. You thought of the injection you had taken earlier, the one you hoped would make this cycle less painful. But it hadn't helped. In fact, you were beginning to regret it more than anything. Maybe it had made things worse. And then, through the blur of pain, sweat, and tears, a sweet voice came, familiar and comforting. "Yin," your eyes blinked slowly. You weren't sure if it was real or just a trick your mind was playing on you in your weak state. "Yin, is that you?" Your head turned to the side, your blurry vision struggling to focus, and then your heart skipped a beat. Jungkook. His figure came into view, panic in every line of his body. As he rushed to your side, he was wearing a white coat, his ID badge swinging slightly from his chest, his hair slightly messy, like he'd been running. He was here, standing beside you, and the panic in his eyes wasn't that of a doctor treating a patient. It was deeper, personal, painful. "Jungkook, oh my God," he whispered as he got closer, his voice breaking slightly when he saw your pale, drenched face. He turned to the nurse sharply. "Bring me her chart. Start 4 fluids immediately. I need a BP monitor, abdominal ultrasound kit, and fast-acting pain relievers. Now." The nurse nodded and rushed out of the room. You wanted to say his name, to speak, but your body gave up on you once again, and you slipped into unconsciousness before you could answer. Jungkook stood still for a moment, staring at your unconscious form, his chest rising and falling with a heavy ache. He hadn't seen you in years, not since you'd walked away from his life with no explanation. And now, here you were, curled up in pain, fragile, helpless, tears still wet on your face. He moved closer to you, slowly, as if afraid you might get more hurt. His hands trembled as he brushed the damp strands of hair away from your forehead. His thumb rested on your cheek gently, afraid to press too hard. Your skin was warmer than it should be, your breathing still shallow. His heart squeezed. You looked older now, more mature, more like a woman. He stared at you, stunned by how badly you were suffering, and he hated himself for never noticing it back then. Back in school, back in college, he'd known you for years, and yet he'd never realized your periods were this bad, that you had been enduring this alone. "Jungkook, I promise you'll be alright," he murmured softly, the words barely above a whisper, more for himself than for you. He couldn't stop staring. His gaze roamed across your face, every detail burning into his memory. The creases in your forehead from pain, the moisture at the corners of your eyes, the tremble in your lips even while you slept. It was haunting. His fingers twitched beside him, aching to touch you, to comfort you, to remove the agony that had brought you here. He moved around the bed carefully, checking your vitals and adjusting your four with clinical precision, but his heart wasn't in it, not fully. With each adjustment, each glance at the screen, his mind spun. All those years, school, college, all the silly fights and teasing, he never once noticed, never once realized you were suffering like this. He remembered you as someone so full of life, bold, feisty, never backing down from anything. How could that same girl now be unconscious from pain so unbearable it had literally knocked her off her feet? He bit down on his lower lip hard. How much of your life had he missed? What else had he never seen? Nearly an hour passed with you under his observation, and finally, your medical report arrived. Jungkook grabbed the file immediately, flipping through the pages with a doctor's speed and focus. But the more he read, the slower his hands moved. His heart sank. You had taken an injection, some hormonal treatment, one that your body clearly couldn't tolerate. The pain, the collapse, the unconsciousness, it was all a result of a severe allergic reaction. A quiet, shaky breath left his lips. He placed the file down slowly and stared at your still body. "Jungkook, oh Yin," he muttered under his breath, voice heavy with guilt and sorrow. But before he could dwell on the weight of the moment any longer, his phone buzzed. He picked it up without looking. Jungkook, hello, he asked, voice low and tired. Sabrina. Dr. Jungkook, Sabrina this side. Her voice was gentle but concerned. I just called Mrs. Lena, the gynecologist I scheduled for Yin. She told me you're the only one handling the ward right now, and she passed me your number. I just wanted to check. Did Yin reach safely? His eyes immediately shifted to you. His voice softened. She's here, he said. She's unconscious, due to a reaction from medication, but she's safe now. I'm monitoring her personally. He heard Sabrina sigh in relief, but there was something in her tone that made him pause. Sabrina. I should have gone with her, she whispered. Doctor, this isn't the first time. Every month she goes through this. Her periods are so painful it's not even normal anymore. Sabrina. She never visits doctors for some reasons I don't know. Please, help her. She needs someone to actually fix this. Jungkook's heart twisted. He looked down at you again, his eyes dark with guilt and something deeper, something protective, emotional, raw. He pressed the phone tighter to his ear. Jungkook, I'll look after her, he said firmly. You don't have to worry now. The call ended, leaving a heavy silence behind. Jungkook placed the phone on the side table and sat back down, his elbows resting on his knees, hands clasped together. He stared at the floor for a long moment before glancing back up at you. His throat was dry. He remembered everything. How you used to fight over group projects, the way you always rolled your eyes when he smirked at you, the way you once threw your metal bottle at him in class when he made a comment about your handwriting. You were fire back then, bold, alive. But now all of that seems so small compared to the pain you'd been hiding behind those walls. He leaned in slowly, pulling back the hospital blanket just slightly to examine your stomach area. His touch was gentle, his fingers brushing softly over the tight muscles beneath your clothes. He didn't press, he just rested his hand there, warm and still, letting you feel his presence even in your unconsciousness. His hand moved up to your cheek, thumb brushing away a stray strand of hair, stuck to your damp skin. Jungkook, I want to talk to you, Yin, he whispered, smiling faintly. I want to say everything I never said before. He hesitated, but then leaned in, pressing a soft, lingering kiss to your forehead. His lips stayed there, unmoving, as if pouring years of silent guilt and unspoken emotions into that one tender gesture. And he didn't pull away. Not yet. Not until he was sure you felt it, even in your sleep. Not until he was sure you knew. He was here now, and he wasn't going anywhere. It was the next morning. The soft rustle of the curtains and the golden light of early sun danced across your face. The entire hospital room was bathed in warmth. Your body lay still, sun-kissed and tangled slightly in the white blanket. After what felt like hours of dreamless, heavy sleep, your eyes finally began to twitch. A quiet sigh left your lips as your fingers slowly curled, brushing against your temple. You gently rubbed your eyes, still heavy from exhaustion, letting out a soft hum of protest at the brightness filtering through the curtains. Your mind was blank at first, floating somewhere between sleep and wakefulness. You had no idea someone was watching you, and not just anyone. Jeon Jungkook stood a few feet away from your bed, his tall figure still dressed in suit, a clipboard in his hand. His hair was slightly messy from hours without sleep, a few strands falling into his forehead, but he looked composed, focused. But his dark brown eyes weren't on the reports anymore, they were on you. His lips twitched into the smallest smile as he watched the way you were waking up, like a sleepy kitten who didn't want to open her eyes yet. There was something fragile, almost sacred, about the moment. The early sunlight made your skin glow, and your lashes fluttered like butterfly wings. His heart stilled. For a second, he forgot everything, where he was, what happened, even why you were here. Jungkook, how adorable, he murmured under his breath, barely audible. The words left him instinctively, like he didn't even realize he was speaking. But the spell broke the moment your eyes opened. Slow, groggy, unfocused, and then suddenly, sharply awake, the second your gaze landed on him, everything inside you froze. Your stomach dropped. Your entire body stiffened beneath the blanket as confusion and panic rushed through you. You remembered him before knocking off, but still, why was he here? Did he treat you? Did he see you like that? Weak, sick, helpless? Of all the doctors in the entire building, it had to be him. Your fingers clenched around the blanket as your heart began to race. You shifted, trying to sit up, but your body was still sore. Just then, you saw Jungkook moving. He stepped toward you slowly, silently, without saying a word. And before you could stop him, his hand came up. You flinched, but it was too late. His thumb reached the corner of your eye, gently brushing the crust and dirt away. His touch was so soft it didn't hurt, but it made your skin crawl. The closeness, the tenderness, the way he looked at you, not like a doctor, but like he knew you. You turned your face away, squirming. Yin, don't you, mumbled, weakly, but he didn't stop until your eyes were clean. Only then did he pull back. You slapped his hand away with your palm, not hard, but enough to let him know you weren't okay with this. Jungkook chuckled softly under his breath, not offended, almost amused by your reaction. Jungkook, you slept good, didn't you? He said, finally taking a seat beside the bed, but the teasing didn't last long. His expression shifted, the smirk disappeared, his jaw tightened slightly, and the clipboard lowered to his lap as he stared at you, with those piercing eyes. Jungkook, I need to ask you something important now. He flipped the report open. Again. Jungkook, Yin, he began firmly. Your reports say you injected yourself with medication that your body is allergic to. He held up the file slightly, tapping it with his finger. You mind telling me what that was about? You looked away immediately, lips pressed into a tight line. You didn't want to talk to him. Not like this. You didn't owe him an explanation. Yin, can I talk to a female doctor instead? You asked stiffly, not even meeting his gaze. Jungkook, no, he said immediately, without pause, without hesitation. His tone was flat and final. You swallowed the lump in your throat, already growing irritated by his presence. Why was he like this? Why couldn't he just act like a normal doctor and let someone else take over? You exhaled roughly, not having any other option. You spoke. Yin, I took the medicine to numb the pain, you admitted, still refusing to look at him. I didn't think it'd go this far. I was just trying something different, something stronger. I thought it would help. Jungkook let out a deep breath, running his hand through his hair. He could feel the ache in your voice, the desperation. You could tell this wasn't just about being your doctor. He felt something more. Jungkook, you didn't even have a prescription, did you? He asked, already knowing the answer. Your eyes widened, stunned that he figured it out so fast. Yin, he saw the panic in your expression, the hesitation, the fear. You lowered your voice, guilt clear into your words. I looked it up online. I thought it would work. Everyone online said it would help with the pain. He stared at you, jaw clenching as he tried to control the storm inside him. His voice came out louder now, stricter. Jungkook, Yin, are you insane? You gave yourself random injections based on something you read online. He snapped. Do you even realize how dangerous that is? You almost went into shock because your body rejected it. You could have. You flinched at his words, but your anger flared up too. You didn't want pity. You didn't want lectures, especially not from him. Yin, I'm here because it was an emergency, you said harshly, glaring at him. Just treat me, okay? I don't need your lectures or your concern. I'm not your regular patient. Don't get involved. Your voice was sharp and cold, like a slap across the face. His chest tightened, the sting of your words hitting deeper than you realized. He stared at you silently for a moment, and then leaned forward just slightly. Jungkook, do you think I'll let you meet other doctors? He asked, eyes narrowed, tone firm. You lifted your eyes slowly to meet his, frowning without realizing. His gaze didn't falter. You're under my observation now, he continued, standing up from the chair beside your hospital bed. And I'm not asking for your choices. His voice was almost commanding, leaving no room for argument. You felt the blood rush to your face, not out of shyness, but pure frustration. Your fingers curled tightly around the blanket resting beside your lap as you closed your eyes, trying to keep your emotions under control. But the moment your eyes shut, the memories came flooding back. His rejection was still fresh, the way he looked at you like a stranger. Like the two of you never sat on the same bench. Never shared those stupid laughs, never had nights where your bickering was the only sound in the room. You hated him, hated the way he stood in front of you now, with concern in his eyes, pretending he cared. It felt like a cruel joke. You were so lost in those memories that you didn't notice Jungkook moving closer, until his hand almost brushed your lower stomach. The instant you felt the shift in distance, your eyes snapped open and, without thinking, you slapped his hand away, a sharp smack filling the room. Yin, don't touch me, you snapped, voice trembling slightly, not from fear, but from the storm of anger. He didn't back away. Instead, he looked at you calmly, voice soft this time. Jungkook, Yin, right now, I'm your doctor, please let me act like one, he said gently, clearly trying not to provoke you more. He waited for a response, then slowly added, Jungkook, please lift your shirt. I need to check you properly." You didn't speak. You didn't want him touching you, but you knew he wasn't going to leave, so instead of fully lifting your shirt, you held it just enough with both hands, creating a small space near your stomach, but still not exposing yourself completely. Your eyes stared at him, emotionless. "Yin, do it fast," you muttered. Jungkook sighed quietly and crouched down a bit, carefully sliding his hand inside the space you had made. The cold metal of the stethoscope followed. His fingers brushed against your skin as he tried to find the right place to examine, and you tried to focus on anything else. "Jungkook, tell me where it hurts," he said, his voice low and gentle, "and let me know if anything makes you uncomfortable." As he worked, his other hand twitched a little, unconsciously reaching toward your hair to caress them, like he had done when you were asleep earlier. But the moment his eyes met yours again, the glare you gave him, even without knowing what he was about to do, made him stop midair. His hand dropped back immediately, and for the first time, you saw him hesitate. His fingers moved carefully across your abdomen as he asked softly, "Jungkook, here?" You shook your head. "No," you said shortly. He moved to another spot. "Jungkook, here." You didn't respond. Then finally, when he pressed slightly under your ribs, a sound slipped out of your mouth. You thought it would be a gasp. It was pain, after all, but it wasn't. It came out as a soft, breathy sound, one that didn't sound like pain at all. It came out wrong, too much like a moan. Your body froze, your eyes widened in disbelief, and your hand immediately flew to your mouth. You wanted to disappear. Jungkook, meanwhile, sat frozen in front of you. His eyes stared at you like he wasn't sure if what just happened was real. His face turned visibly red, and his ears were burning. His hand slowly pulled away from your skin, as if he was afraid he'd hurt you more. But that wasn't the reason. His mind was stuck on the sound you made. He knew it had come from pain, but his brain refused to let it go so easily. He cleared his throat, awkwardly licking his lips. "Jungkook, so, it hurts here?" he asked finally, his voice lower, more uncertain now. You couldn't speak. You just nodded quickly, still covering your face. You were embarrassed beyond words. You felt stupid. Jungkook stood up slowly, needing to put some space between the two of you. His hands went to his sides as he looked anywhere but at you. "Jungkook, I'll call the nurses. They'll help you change your dressings," he said, trying hard to keep his voice steady. You adjusted your shirt wordlessly, still avoiding his eyes, but as you looked up again, you saw him still standing there, frozen in place. His eyes were back on you now, and you couldn't read the look on his face. It wasn't just shock, it was something else, something heavier. "Yin, move," you muttered, glaring again. That snapped him out of it. He nodded quickly. "Jungkook, if the pain becomes unbearable at any point," he said softly, turning toward the door, "please just call me. No one else, just me." Then he walked out, closing the door behind him gently. "Yin, idiot." A dry, humorless laugh escaped your lips as you stared at the ceiling. "You're such an idiot, Jeon Jungkook. But maybe I'm the bigger one, for still feeling something." It was evening now. The sky outside had turned a deep shade of blue, and the room was dim, lit only by the faint orange hue leaking in from the setting sun. You hadn't moved much since morning. You were curled under the blanket, your body aching in places even you couldn't describe. Every time you shifted, it sent a wave of pain through your lower stomach, up your back, even to your ribs. You tried getting up earlier, tried breathing some fresh air by the window, but just walking to the bathroom had left you shaking, gripping the sink to stay on your feet. And when you caught sight of your reflection, your pale face, puffy eyes, and the dark purple bruises blooming on your skin, you broke down. You cried, not the loud, messy kind, but the silent, painful sobs that left your throat sore and your chest hollow. You didn't want to admit it, but all you wanted right now was him. Jungkook, you knew he had come into your room more than he should have today, checking on you, hovering around like he was fighting himself, but your pride had always stopped you from showing how broken you were inside. Now, though, all of that pride was gone. You just wanted him near. You wanted to hear his voice, to feel his concern, to finally let go and cry in front of him without pretending anymore. All you wanted now was for him to walk in, to see you like this, to ask if it was hurting too much. You knew you would cry the second he did, but you also knew that was the only thing that would make you feel better. As you sank deeper into the blanket, eyes heavy with exhaustion and dried tears, the soft creak of the door made your whole body tense. You stopped breathing for a second, your ears focused on the faint sound of the hinges. and then you saw him. Jungkook stepped in slowly and carefully, as if afraid to startle you. His figure was backlit by the hallway light, and in his hand, he held a small bottle of oil. There was no nurse behind him, just Jungkook. Your stomach twisted. Was he planning to massage you? No way. That thought alone sent panic and heat rushing to your face. Jungkook, hey Yin. His voice was soft, too soft, and it made your chest tighten. Are you asleep already? You quickly turned your face away and pulled the blanket tighter around your head. Your eyes were puffy, your lips were trembling, your stomach bruised and swollen. You couldn't let him see that. Jungkook walked closer, his eyes narrowing, with concern when you didn't respond. His hand gently reached for the blanket. Jungkook, is it hurting again? He asked, even more softly now. You flinched at his touch, burying yourself deeper. The blanket felt like your only shield. You couldn't let him see the bruises you had given yourself in the moment of panic. You couldn't let him see how bad it had gotten. Jungkook, come on, let me massage you. He coaxed gently, rubbing his hand in slow circles over the blanket that covered your back. It'll help, I promise. You didn't answer, but a tiny sniff escaped you. Jungkook froze. Then he moved closer, crouching beside the bed, his voice filled with more urgency and care. Jungkook, hey Yin, hey, please look at me. It must be hurting so much again. I get it, but let me help. I'm right here, okay? But you couldn't. You still couldn't face him. Yin, go away, you finally whispered, your voice small and trembling. But he didn't listen. Jungkook, come on, don't act like a child, he said gently, his voice laced with a small sigh. You're in pain. Why are you trying to go through this alone? Let me help. That was it. Your last string snapped. You threw the blanket off your face and sat up, your body trembling from weakness and the sudden movement. With the little strength you had left, you shoved him back with one hand on his stomach. It wasn't hard, but it was filled with frustration, embarrassment, and fear. Yin, I said go, you shouted, your voice breaking at the end. Your eyes burned again, threatening to spill tears. Jungkook stumbled a step back but didn't react in anger. He didn't even look surprised. Instead, he just let out a soft breath and watched you with calm, steady eyes. He wasn't hurt, not by your push, not by your words. He knew, he understood. Jungkook, I'm not trying to make things worse, he said after a moment. His voice was low, gentle. Let me massage you. I won't touch you anywhere unnecessary, I promise. Not unless you're okay with it. I'll stay right here. But then, his eyes flicked downward, and he noticed how tightly you were holding the blanket to your chest, almost like you were hiding from him. He saw the way your fingers trembled around the fabric. Yin, I don't want anything right now, you said quietly, but firmly. You didn't meet his eyes this time. You couldn't. Please, just go. Silence hung in the air for a few seconds. He looked at you, not with pity, but with patience. He shifted closer, slow and gentle, not wanting to startle you. His thumb moved softly over your cheek, wiping the tears that had slid down. You flinched at the touch, not because it hurt, but because it was him. Jungkook, are you not letting me touch you? He whispered, his voice low and careful. Because you're still angry. Your eyes snapped open, instantly locking with his. They were sharp and glassy, filled with heat and a storm of everything you couldn't say. You glared at him, jaw clenched. Yin, I'm not angry at anyone, you muttered, voice dry and cold, but he could hear the pain in it. He lowered himself to your level, eyes never leaving yours. His knees pressed into the bed as he bent closer, desperate to understand you, to reach you. Jungkook, you hate me because I rejected you, don't you? That broke something inside you. Your lips parted, but nothing came out. You looked away so fast, afraid he'd see how close you were to breaking. Your shoulders shook slightly as you turned your face toward the wall, hiding the tears that had returned. Your lips trembled, and you cursed yourself for being this weak in front of him. Jungkook noticed. His chest tightened painfully when you looked away like that. Jungkook, hey, he said, his voice trembling slightly. I'm sorry, about back then. I didn't know. I swear I didn't. Your friend, she told me it was a dare, that you wanted to humiliate me, that you hated me and wanted revenge for something I said. I didn't think you were serious. I didn't think it was real. Jungkook, I was young, stupid. I didn't understand feelings like I do now. I didn't know how much that moment meant to you. If I had any idea, I would have never brushed you off like that. I'm sorry, Yin, really, but you weren't ready to hear any of it. Your heart was already hanging by threads, and his voice only made it harder to breathe. Yin, shut up, Jungkook, you whispered, your throat tightening. Yin, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk. Your voice wasn't loud, but the pain behind it echoed. Still, he didn't move. His eyes softened, and instead of backing away, he sat down right beside you, folding his leg, his knee brushing yours. Jungkook, why do you always run away from conversations? Jungkook, I tried to talk to you before. You didn't let me. And now I'm trying again. And you're still shutting me out. You didn't answer. You couldn't. Your throat was closing up again, and all you could offer him was silence. It settled thickly in the air, and eventually, he let out a sigh. Jungkook, okay, lie down, he murmured. Let me take care of you now. That pushed you. Yin, no, you said immediately, reaching for the bottle of oil he had in his hand. Give it to me. I'll do it myself. You couldn't stand the idea of his hands on your body, not after everything. Not when your body didn't even feel like yours anymore. But he moved the bottle away quickly. Jungkook, I'm the doctor here, Yin, he said, firmer this time. I know which muscles need pressure and which ones to avoid. You'll make it worse if you do it alone. You stared at him, frustrated, broken, and exhausted. Yin, God, you're so irritating, you hissed, voice cracking. He leaned closer, not backing down. Jungkook, then why won't you just let me do it? He replied, not raising his voice, but sounding tired and hurt. That was it. Everything exploded inside you at once. Pain, memories, guilt, shame. You were too exhausted to keep it together anymore. That was your limit. The pressure exploded from within. Your hands shook violently as you threw the blanket off. You grabbed the hem of your shirt and shoved it up, revealing your bare skin underneath. Dark bruises, red marks, faint nail scratches, and a few healing scars trailing along your side and stomach. Jungkook's eyes widened in shock. He didn't move. He couldn't. He was frozen in place as your voice broke in a raw, almost desperate scream. Yin, this is why, you cried. This is why I don't want you to touch me. Your chest heaved, your face soaked in tears. I didn't want you to see this. I didn't want you to see how disgusting I look, how weak I've become. I didn't want you to see what I did to my own body because I didn't know how to survive the pain. Your shoulders shook violently, and you wiped your eyes with the back of your hand. Yin, I didn't want you to sit here and pretend to care now. I didn't want you to feel sorry for me. As your eyes slowly drifted down, following the exact spot Jungkook had been staring at so intently, everything inside you froze. Your breath caught in your throat. Your fingers trembled as your gaze locked on the faint but horrifying stain just between your thighs, a patch of red. Your skin above was raw, bruised, damaged. You couldn't breathe. It felt like the world had suddenly flipped upside down. The air turned thick, and the walls began to close in. You yanked your shirt down in one sharp motion, your entire body reacting like you'd just been caught naked. Heat flooded your cheeks. Your eyes welled up immediately, shame clawing at your chest like wildfire. You didn't even dare look at Jungkook. You didn't have to. You already knew he saw it. Yin, I hate you so much, you whispered through clenched teeth, not because you truly hated him, but because hating him felt easier than showing him your pain. Jungkook hadn't moved. His body had turned to stone, lips slightly parted as his eyes lingered on the spot you'd just covered. His jaw tightened slowly, and he swallowed hard like the lump in his throat wouldn't go down just after seeing your stomach. His voice was barely above a whisper. Jungkook, you did this to yourself? You didn't answer. The silence was louder than any scream, and it made his chest ache. He slowly stepped forward, something heavy in his eyes. Jungkook, I told you, if it hurts, you're supposed to tell me, he murmured, the pain in his voice betraying the calm expression he was trying to hold. Yin, you're not meant to go through pain alone. No one is built to suffer quietly. Your eyes dropped to the floor, ashamed, but he wasn't waiting for your permission anymore. Without a word, Jungkook leaned forward and gently picked you up. You were caught off guard, your hands instinctively pushing at his chest, but your body didn't resist. Not really. The moment your cheek landed on his shoulder, a strange warmth spread across your ribs. Your breathing slowed, your muscles loosened. His hold was firm, secure, and terrifyingly comforting. Yin, Jungkook, you whimpered, voice small and trembling. He didn't soften. Jungkook, shut up, Yin. He snapped quietly, glaring down at you. His tone wasn't cruel. It was broken. I don't want to hear a single damn word right now. You're being so stubborn, and I'm not going to sit and watch you hurt yourself anymore. The frustration in his voice cracked mid-sentence, but underneath it was fear. You were silent after that, too emotionally exhausted to argue, too confused by your own feelings to fight the comfort of his arms. He carried you to the bathroom, every step slow and careful as if he was holding something fragile. He gently set you down on the toilet seat, brushing your hair out of your face. Jungkook, stay here, he muttered. Before you could even blink, he had stepped out. Moments later, he returned, carrying a pile of clean clothes and everything you needed. He handed it all to you wordlessly, his gaze soft but unreadable. You looked at the things in your lap, then looked back at him, and then he moved. Instead of leaving, he turned his back to you and stood at the doorway, arms crossed over his chest, head slightly lowered. You blinked. Yin, what are you doing? You asked, voice still shaken. Jungkook, nothing, he replied calmly. I'm not looking. Don't worry. Your heart skipped. Yin, so what? You're just going to stand there while I change? Jungkook, yes, he replied flatly, but like I said, I won't look. You narrowed your eyes. Yin, Jungkook, that's not. Jungkook, I'm counting to 30. He cut you off, not turning around. If I don't hear you change, I'll do it myself. Your lips parted in disbelief. Yin, what the heck? Jungkook, I'm serious, he said, his voice low. I'm not risking leaving you alone. Not after seeing that bruise. Not when I know what you do to yourself when you think no one's watching. You froze. Those words hit harder than anything else he'd said tonight. You suddenly realized he wasn't being controlling. He was scared. He was afraid of what you might do if left alone with your thoughts. He had seen enough to know that your silence wasn't safe. For the first time, someone wasn't walking away. For the first time, someone was staying, even when it was messy, even when it was ugly, even when you were vulnerable and didn't want to be seen. You gulped hard, but still, the idea of changing in front of Jungkook made your skin crawl, not because you didn't trust him, but because he was a man who had already seen you at your weakest, a man who made your chest tighten in ways you couldn't explain. But now, standing behind you, he started to count. Jungkook, 1, 2, your eyes widened in shock. Yin, I hate you, you hissed through your teeth, panic rising in your chest. You could practically hear the grin forming on his lips, even though you couldn't see his face. He didn't say a word, didn't even turn, just kept slowly counting. Teasingly, you groaned under your breath and reluctantly began to change. Your fingers were trembling slightly, fumbling with the fabric, your eyes darting to check if he was really not peeking. He wasn't. What you didn't see was the way Jungkook's expression slowly shifted. As soon as he heard the sound of your clothes rustling, a look of relief washed over his face. He reached into the pocket of his pants and pulled out a pair of black wireless earphones. He carefully plugged them into his ears and tapped one gently, and slowed his counting on purpose. He didn't say a word, just smiled faintly and let the number 12 stretch out for as long as possible, giving you all the time in the world. Because he knew you needed it, he wasn't going to rush you. You finished changing faster than you thought you would, but when you glanced back, you realized something that made your lips twitch with amusement, because you noticed the slow counting, the pause, the tiny smile that played on your lips wasn't something you could control. Even if he didn't say it aloud, he was giving you time, respecting your space, protecting you even from your own embarrassment. Your heart melted a little. Still, the moment you were done, you realized he hadn't moved. He was still on 12. Rolling your eyes, you scanned the counter and found a small plastic bottle. Without hesitation, you picked it up and threw it straight at his back. Thunk. Jungkook. Oh. He jumped forward slightly and winced dramatically, one hand flying up to rub where it hit him. You little. He turned around, mock shocked, glaring at you with narrowed eyes. But the moment he saw you, he froze mid-motion. You were laughing, really laughing, your cheeks pink, as half squinting from joy, your hand over your stomach as your shoulders bounced. He went completely still. He stared for a long second, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. A soft, unfamiliar warmth bloomed in his chest. You were laughing, after everything, even if just for a second. The pain was gone from your face. It took his breath away. Jungkook, still as naughty as ever, huh? He muttered, but this time his voice was filled with fondness. Before you could blink, he walked toward you and, without asking, scooped you into his arms again. It was smooth, effortless. Yin, I should hit you more often, you teased, arms looping around his neck instinctively. Jungkook, yeah, talk big now. He rolled his eyes, but his grip around your waist tightened slightly, pressing you closer to his chest like he wanted to hide you inside him. Like if he held you tight enough, nothing could ever touch you again. He carried you over to the bed and gently sat down. His hand lingered on your thigh, and his eyes scanned your face. Jungkook, now, let's oil you up, he said gently, reaching for the small bottle of warm oil beside him. I want you to be comfortable. No more pretending everything's fine. You stayed quiet, watching his every move. He poured a few drops of the oil into his palm and rubbed his hands together slowly. You flinched when he gently lifted the hem of your shirt again to expose your lower stomach, still red, still tender. His brows furrowed in pain, but his fingers touched your skin, so soft, so warm, and all thoughts scattered. He began rubbing small, slow circles into your tummy, carefully avoiding any sore spots at first. The oil melted into your skin, his hands spreading it evenly with almost reverent care. Jungkook, relax. His voice was like velvet, soft, deep, low enough to make your heart flutter. He kept glancing up at your face every few seconds, eyes full of concern. You're not supposed to suffer like this, Yin, he whispered, his voice trembling slightly. You're not meant to carry all that pain and act like it's nothing. His thumb made soft circles just beneath your ribs, as if coaxing your breath to come easier. Not from me. You don't have to hide anything from me anymore. There was something in his tone that made your heart slow down, a kind of broken honesty that left your chest tight. Jungkook, you can cry if you want to, he continued, his voice barely audible now. You can scream, fall apart, anything. But please, Yin, just don't push me away anymore. He paused, swallowing hard as his hand stilled just under your ribs. Jungkook, I'm sorry for everything, for the things I did, and the things I didn't. I mean it, forgive me. You bit your lower lip so hard it almost hurt. Your eyes started to sting, and you blinked quickly, trying to keep the tears from falling. Yin, stop, you whispered back, voice shaky, your eyes not meeting his. Stop asking for forgiveness when you know none of it was your fault. You sighed deeply. If I were in your place, I would have done the same thing. That one confession made his brows pull together like he was in pain, but it also softened his whole expression. His thumbs resumed their slow movement, and you exhaled at the warmth of his touch. A long silence settled between you, filled only by your quiet breaths. Then, in a voice so low it almost disappeared between you, he asked, Jungkook, Yin, can we start over? Your breath hitched. He looked up at you again, this time, not just to check if you were okay, but like he was hoping you'd say something to fix everything broken between you both. Jungkook, you and me, he said slowly, as if the words were sacred, together again. His hands froze. You could feel the tension in them. His fingers rested lightly on your waist, not daring to move. His eyes held everything, fear, hope, love. Jungkook, love me again, Yin, he whispered, please, because he hesitated, voice shaking, I still love you. I never stop. Double quotes. As soon as the words escaped his lips, he dropped his head slightly, as if waiting for you to yell at him, maybe hit him, maybe keep quiet. But instead, he heard something else, a quiet sigh. You took a breath and looked away, your heart pounding in your chest. Yin, I don't know if I still feel the same, you said, and quickly added, but I just want to say, I understand now. We weren't on good terms, and yeah, when I proposed, it was too sudden. It must have confused you, and I shouldn't have reacted the way I did. Your voice cracked. I was childish. I let my emotions control me. A single tear slid down your cheek, and Jungkook reached up immediately, using the back of his hand, the one not coated with oil, to wipe it away. The touch was so gentle, so tender, it made your heart ache. Yin, but what hurts more, you continued, voice softer now, is that even when I was acting like a fool, you never embarrassed me. You never humiliated me in front of anyone like I did to you. Every time, even when I lost control, even when I got angry over the smallest things, you never once made me feel stupid. Your hands were now fidgeting with the collar of his shirt, eyes still glassy with emotion. Jungkook didn't speak. He just let you say everything, holding your waist with one hand while the other wiped every tear that escaped your eyes. Jungkook, I love you, Yin, he said suddenly, voice thick with emotion. Even back then, even when I made mistakes, I swear, everything that happened, it was a misunderstanding. I never meant to make you feel unwanted. Please, give me another chance. Please love me again. You looked into his iced eyes, dark and trembling with fear, and whispered the truth you'd been hiding from even yourself. Yin, I can never love anyone except you. The way you said it, so gently, so honestly, it broke something in him. His breath caught, his eyes widened a little, his lips parting. Then, as if moved by something stronger than himself, he leaned in. His face was inches away, his lips hovered just beside yours, so close, you could feel his breath on your mouth, but he didn't kiss you yet. He waited, he was giving you the chance to move away, but you didn't. You leaned in too. Jungkook, can I? He whispered, eyes locked on yours. You nodded slowly, placing both your hands on his cheeks, pulling him closer. And then he kissed you. His lips met yours gently at first, tentative, testing. But as soon as he felt you respond, his body melted into the kiss. It deepened quickly, turning hungry yet loving. His hand caressed your waist with the oil still on it, gliding over your skin while his lips claimed your breath. He tilted his head, kissing you like he needed you to breathe. His lips moved with passion, with purpose, as if trying to say all the things he couldn't. He tilted his head to another side, pressing deeper, eating up every breath, every sound that left your lips. The soft, wet sounds of your kiss filled the room. When you finally pulled away, breathing hard, your lips still tingled from the kiss, he looked at you with awe. Jungkook, you're so soft, he whispered, brushing the back of his index finger along your lower lip. So beautiful. How did I ever dare to lose you? A small, shy smile formed on your lips, but Jungkook didn't stop. He kissed your cheek, then your forehead, your nose, your eyelids, your neck, your collarbone. His hands still massaged your waist gently, gliding with the oil, while his lips roamed your skin. You suddenly giggled, your body twitching at the ticklish feeling near your ribs. Yin, stop it, you whispered, trying not to laugh. Jungkook chuckled, resting his forehead against yours, his nose brushing against yours as he smiled. Jungkook, I love you so much. He breathed, I love you, Yin. And this time, you didn't hold back the tears. They fell freely, but for once, they didn't hurt. They were soft, healing, because he was here, and he was yours again. Jungkook, Yin, he called out as soon as he stepped inside the house. His voice echoed in the quiet space, filled with longing and just a hint of urgency. His home, your shared space, felt so alive now, as if your very presence clung to every corner of the walls. The soft scent of your perfume still lingered in the air. It smelled like fresh flowers, like skin after a warm shower, like you. His chest tightened. Even when you weren't in sight, your warmth was everywhere. Jungkook, baby. He called again, this time softer, sweeter. His heart still ached from this morning. You had left for work without even looking at him properly, your eyes full of unspoken annoyance. He couldn't focus the entire day. Every moment felt heavy until he finally came home, with a bouquet of your favorite flowers and a freshly baked cake from the cafe you both loved. He stepped further into the living room and gently placed the cake on the table, his heart racing. He walked further inside and placed the cake gently on the table. Just as he was about to call for you again, he froze, his breath caught in his throat. He felt small, warm hands slide around his waist from behind, hugging him tightly, your body pressed into his back like you needed him. Yin, I missed you. Your voice was a soft murmur against his back, barely a whisper, but it hit him deeper than anything. He didn't move. He just stood there, eyes closing for a second as he absorbed the feeling of you, the sound of your voice, the warmth of your arms. Jungkook, how much? He asked playfully, turning his head just a little. You didn't answer with words. Instead, you loosened your hold, your fingers trailing along his waist as you gently turned him around and pushed him back. He let you, stunned but smiling, until his back hit the couch and he bounced onto the soft cushions. Jungkook, oh, he gasped dramatically, eyebrows raised in surprise, but the laughter on his face was clear. You climbed onto his lap, straddling him confidently, your knees pressing against either side of his thighs. Jungkook's hands naturally came to rest on your waist, holding you gently. He bit his lower lip, eyes shining. His heart was thumping now, hard, fast. But then, your lips touched his skin. He inhaled sharply when he felt your mouth press against his neck. You moved slowly, deliberately, kissing a soft trail up from the side of his neck to his jaw, and then to the edge of his earlobe. When your lips brushed that sensitive spot, his whole body tensed. A soft shiver ran down his spine. Jungkook, oh baby. He breathed out, voice low and shaky. Well, thank God you're not angry anymore. Being close to you like this still felt magical. No matter how many months had passed in your relationship, over time, he had come to understand everything about you, your moods, your needs, your heart. He even figured out that your anger, your random arguments, your frustration, they all came from something deeper. Hormones, pain. You weren't mean, you were hurting. And he finally got it. The way you snapped at him sometimes during your periods wasn't you pushing him away. It was you needing comfort. love, understanding. It also connects to how you used to fight with him back in school days. When you finally pulled away from his neck, he opened his eyes, only to see you gazing at him with those soft, doe-like eyes. His heart thumped in his chest as your voice broke through the silence. Yin, I'm sorry for my behavior this morning, you murmured, your voice soft, filled with a tenderness that made his heart ache. Jungkook smiled gently, reaching up to brush a strand of hair from your face. His voice was a soft, reassuring whisper as he gazed into your eyes, his thumb gently grazing your cheek. Jungkook, I'm never angry at you, baby. Never, he whispered, his words sincere and full of warmth. You smiled, feeling the weight of the words settle in your chest. Jungkook's eyes were full of love, and you knew, deep down, that he truly meant every word. Yin, I love you so much, you whispered back. Jungkook chuckled lightly, his voice teasing but affectionate. Jungkook, I know, he said, his fingers brushing against your hair. I love you too, more than anything. You couldn't help but laugh along with him, the tension from earlier finally easing between you. Your gaze shifted to the bouquet of flowers he had brought in. The vibrant colors caught your attention, and you reached out to take them, admiring the beauty of each petal. Yin, they're so beautiful, you said, your voice soft with appreciation. Thank you, love. Jungkook smiled, pulling you closer and hugging you tightly. He kissed your temple, his lips lingering there for a moment before he spoke again, his voice low and inviting. Jungkook, let's order food and cuddle in bed for the rest of the night. You bit your lip, feeling the familiar flutter in your chest. You loved this comfort, this peace that always settled over you when you were with him. You leaned in, brushing your lips against his gently. Yin, yes, let's do it. I want to tell you so much about what happened today at the office, you whispered, a smile tugging at your lips. Jungkook's eyes sparkled with interest, his hands moving to gently caress your back. As he nodded, Jungkook, I'm all ears, baby, tell me everything. He kissed you again, this time more gently, as if savoring the moment, his lips lingering against yours. The cake was forgotten, the flowers set aside. In this moment, there was nothing else but the two of you, sharing a quiet evening together, wrapped up in each other's arms.